Alright, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be installing a Wavetrac LSD into my all-wheel drive K-Series transmission. I've already got the transmission pulled apart because I had a gear set that I've already put in it. It's actually a 6-speed gear set with a Gear X 1 through 4 helical synchro set. And I guess 5th and 6th is stock RSX Type S, I guess. I don't really know. I got this stuff already together, and I was told it was a Gear X 1 through 4. So I did buy a Wavetrac LSD for it, and today we're going to be installing that. So as you can see here, I've already got the transmission disassembled. You know, I got all of this stuff all over the place. But here's the Wavetrac LSD. So I'm gonna get this unboxed, and I already got the bearings and the speed ring off of the factory differential. So next we'll be installing the bearings and the speed ring onto the Wavetrac. Beauty. It's a beautiful thing. I've had a Wavetrac LSD before in my GSR transmission, and it did really good. So yeah, I got this one. The Wavetrac is compatible with front wheel drive and all wheel drive, so that's why you see it has 2 sets of holes. So I guess we'll get started on installing these bearings, and then we'll get the ring gear put on. Alright, so to get the ring gear off and the bearing off, I used a bearing splitter and just pulled it off. It's pretty straightforward with a bearing splitter. So you see the speed gear will go here on the factory differential, and then it'll go on this ring here. To get it on there though, I just use a little heat, like with a propane torch, and kind of heat up the speed ring, and then it'll just kind of slide down on the differential. It's pretty easy. So let's knock that out real quick. Alright, so I'm gonna just use, like I said, my little propane torch, and I'm just gonna, you know, heat it in circles. And by heating it, it'll make it expand a little bit where it'll slide on, because I don't have a press. And I know this is probably common sense, but don't grab this with your hands. I got a pair of pliers. It's gonna make a pretty gnarly design on my wood here. I just don't like working directly on the floor. I think I've got that pretty warm now. Let's grab my pliers. And then I just got a piece of brass here. Tap it down, and she's seated. And see, it went all the way down, so that's perfect. Once it cools off, it's there. Alright, so now we got to do the bearings. I don't know if I can just tap them down on there or not. I may have to warm them up a little bit too. See, I'm just using one of these little mallets. It's not Nice steel mallet. And it's still got a good ways to go on there too. Let me see if I can find a socket that fits right on the inner race right there. Alright, so I got a 41mm socket here. And I think it's gonna work. Bearing spins freely. I think she seated all the way on there. Alright. I'm gonna try heating this one just a little bit, see if it'll help it. Just so we see both methods here. Let's see. Yeah, didn't really make much difference. Still having to tap it on there. Let's see. I think that's always seated on there. So our bearing spin freely. Yeah. So now we're ready to put it in the transmission. Let me correct that. I need to put the ring gear and stuff on it before we're ready to put it in the transmission. So I'm gonna do that real quick. I gotta get a socket to fit these bolts on here. And then we'll pop this out real quick. All these bolts that holds these ring gears on, and then we'll switch them over. I don't know how well you can see it. There's a little arrow. So tightening's going to the left, so when they turn to the right to get them out. Alright, so there's our factory differential. Set that to the side. Alright. Set this in there. Doggone bolt holes ain't lining up. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Oh. Get a couple of these started. I would definitely recommend starting all these by hand. Don't start any of them with the impact. You run a risk of cross threading, and that's not a good thing on this because these are special threads. I'm sure it's not easy just to find the tap to clean them out. All right. So we got all of them started. GoPro's doing here. Alright, so you can see I kind of did a crisscross pattern like you would do for a wheel to get them all kind of snug down, and then I just went in a circle just to make sure they're all snug. So now it's ready to go in the transmission. Alright, so to get this differential in, we're going to need to take this gear stack back out. So it's already loose. Alright, and also to put the RSX gear set in here, I had to change this needle bearing here, or whatever it is bearing, to be able to run that countershaft, because the RSX countershaft is bigger than the CRV one. So I had to switch this bearing over to the RSX style. And that's the this bearing here where the countershaft sits. There we go. Alright, so we got that in. Now I got to get my forks put on these gears. Make sure you get the two washers that go on the main shaft here. Make sure they're in the right order. Alright, and also since I am using the 6-speed set, I have a 6-speed shift fork set. I know what happened. I need to run the RSX ring gear. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Since I'm using the RSX gear stack here, I think I gotta use the RSX ring gear on the diff. So gotta pull the CRV one back out, put this one in. Alright, so now I've got the RSX ring on here for the final drive, and now hopefully we can get this gear set in here. Sure ain't giving up easy. Not sure what's going on, why it won't go down in there. I guess I'll, hold on, let me see something. Let's see if it'll go down in there like this. Yeah. That works, so I know it'll, in theory, it should work fine. Going on here, guys. It's a conundrum, that's what it is. Figured it out. I had a board under the edge of the transmission there, and it was actually hitting the main shaft. So, there we go. Get her where she's in neutral. Alright, so that should be neutral there. Yeah, buddy. Alright, now we're good. So I don't know, the CRV gear may have worked. I don't know. Anyway, we got it together here. I'm gonna pull this magnet out. Just clean this a little bit off of it. It ain't gotta be perfect, but might as well clean it while we got it out. Alright, and I'm gonna get a razor blade and just clean up the surface all the way around. Get all the old Honda bond off. And do the same thing to the outer case. So here we've got a reverse. Alright, so just make sure you kind of get your hole here lined up towards kind of over in this area. Alright, here's our reverse selector. Get some Honda bond and put around this real quick, and then we'll get to putting the outer case on. Alright, so I kind of got a little small bead all the way around it now. I'm just going to take my finger and just kind of flatten it out and make sure it's kind of uniform. Alright, so as you can see, this is Honda bond. Now if you don't have Honda bond, gray RTV works really well. I typically use gray RTV. I just happen to have some of this in the shop. I like the gray RTV because it comes in a little can. You just push the little nozzle over and it comes out by itself. You don't have to do none of the squeezing stuff. This crap's hard to squeeze out. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Got it kind of smeared a little thin coat all the way around. Don't take a whole lot of this stuff. You put too much and it's going to squeeze out everywhere, and that's just kind of defeating the purpose. So you just need a little bit to seal it up, and then we're going to stick this outer case on real quick. I got to get the bearing for right here. Alright, so here's our bearing. Slips it right on there. Alright, make sure they're all in neutral. They all look like they are. Little hammer here. Alright, and there's a snap ring right here in this little hole. We gotta spring that out. All right, so I finally got the case to sit all the way down on there. Just took a little finessing to get it on there. Now I'm just gonna get my bolts started. Probably gonna clean this case up and paint it after I get it all assembled. Probably could have done it while it was disassembled, but beating and banging on it and stuff, I figured it would just be better to do it after it's finished. I might not just put them back on. Alright, so I got all those in. Alright, and the bolt right here goes in to hold your reverse. It's a little off. There we go. So I just use a screwdriver, kind of stick in there and jiggle it around until I was able to get it to line up. Snug that down. Alright. And then on our snap ring right here, it's not quite clipped in. So usually what I do is just take the transmission, drop it on this, on the board, like this. And as you see, it's seated now. And then we'll put this back on. That's our little cap for this here. So we'll just use a little bit of Honda Bond on here, not a whole lot. And just take your finger and smear it into those threads. So it don't take a whole lot. So it's a 14 millimeter Allen in here. I didn't have a 14 millimeter Allen, so I just kind of took a 14 millimeter bolt and welded a nut to it so that I now have an Allen. You can see I didn't put a ton of stuff on that. It's not oozing out or nothing, not required. Alright, I'll flip her back over here, and we'll put our detent balls and springs in here. So make sure you put the washer on it. See this washer? You don't have to get these super tight, just snug them down. And now we make sure it's in neutral here, to where our shifter will slide, or our shift mechanism will slide in. So this is a 6-speed mechanism, because like I said, it's 6-speed gear set. So we're using the RSX 6-speed selector. If it's got any excessive Honda Bond or RTV, you'll need to clean that off. This one looks pretty good. And then just smear a little fresh thin coat of RTV around on that, or Honda Bond. Alright, so I got a little thin coat of Honda Bond around this. And then we'll just slide her in here real quick. here. So everything seems to be working there, so that's a good thing. Alright, now we got the selector in there. Gotta put this little piece here in, 6mm Allen on that. I'm gonna put a little Honda bond on the threads on that. Again, it don't take a whole lot. Alright, so I misspoke. It's actually an 8mm. It's not a 6. So, snug that down in there. Alright. Alright, so for our reverse sensor, I took and put a little Honda bond on that too. And then since I used the CRV speed ring, I'm using the CRV speed sensor. We'll get her. She's spinning. As far as I know, all that's left now is just put the shifter cable bracket on it. Alright, so there we have it. I got the shifter bracket on here, or the cable bracket. Everything's on it now. Shifts good by hand. Alright, all 6 gears in reverse. So I'd say this was a success. Yeah, anyway, so now this is ready to mount back onto the engine, and then we can get it put back in the car and start making some good progress. Have it actually in the car, probably to stay. I don't think I'm gonna paint it. I may, scuff it up, try to get some of this oxidation off, clean it up real good. Just send it, and show car's a race car. Yep. So anyway, I'm wrap up this video, and hope to see you guys next time. And not sure what we'll be doing on the next episode, but hopefully something productive. I've got some parts that are coming in. I just got this LSD in yesterday, I think, and I've got the turbo. Still waiting on the turbo manifold. I've got the intercooler already, which is massive. Intercooler's massive. I went with a Precision 6466 turbo. That's the PTE 2nd gen. So we making some jam before you know it. Anyways, guys, appreciate it. Peace.